Why did Sharon Moore cheat, despite his family facing a financial crisis? Moore was exposed for having an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate while married. The university upheld a zero-tolerance policy and fired him, and they had reason not to pay him the buyout, which could have been as high as $10 million. As a result, his family faced a serious financial crisis. Moore had actually been with his wife, Kelly Moore, for 13 years. They met when he was a college graduate working as an assistant coach. Kelly supported his dreams, and even after he became a head coach, she put her own life aside to fully support him, raising 3 adorable daughters. She has almost no public social media presence and has appeared mainly as Moore's supporter at games and important celebrations. Moore himself publicly thanked his wife for her sacrifices early in their marriage. All of this makes the scandal over his cheating and his arrest for allegedly harassing a woman appear almost absurd. Now, Kelly's family has lost virtually all financial security and even needs funds to help Moore get out of custody. What do you think about a house?
I don't consider myself to be a particularly ethical person, but I am fair.
Dying for the right cause is the most human thing we can do.
What do you mean? Right? Joe.
I do hope you see him very proud. I love you.
Welcome, my friends. My name's Antoine Phoenix, and this is my RP experience. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you for being here, seeing another one of my videos. Today's video is going to be a little bit for the women and holding men accountable. Why many men, or a lot of men, will cheat on the women that they say that they love. Now, I'm not above this. Of course, though, it has to be certain stipulations for me to do that. It's only 2 ways, maybe. And, well, it's 2 reasons. And, of course, it would be a reason of me not being able to leave easily. If she's not living with me and she's acting like a total B or making my life total hell, then the cutoff is easy. If she's living with me, if we're married, if we have kids, it's hard for me to cut that cord. That is why I'm real leery about getting in that type of situation with another woman again, because then it makes it hard. But if we're not living together, and if she does certain things that I know that she has done, and even then, if it's something that falls along the line as micro cheating, being as she's being flirtatious, being too friendly with a lot of men, something that you cannot outright say that's cheating, but yet it makes you feel uncomfortable. Believe me, most people, if you like the person, if you are invested in the person, is going to make you feel uncomfortable, whether you are man or woman. I have a couple clips here. I'm going to share this first short one first. I'm going to make another video on the women of why they cheat. Now, of course, though, with them, society always gives them a pass. So this is why I'm going to be honest of why some men or a chunk of men will do it. It's not a little bit, but it's not all men. But of course, though, there's certain stipulations of men that may not do it. But I do think whether you are man or woman, every man or woman has the potential to cheat on you. I'll be right back.
Here are 5 reasons why men cheat. Men cheat because they are emotionally dissatisfied.
It's funny! It's funny! I hate you! Bro, you're a weird too. Like, it's not funny. No, you are watching me do the when I got sick. You good because of you. I hate you. You're a loser. You're a
First of all, we all know that this would have been a very different scene if it was a man yelling at a woman like this. It is absolutely not okay. And the most obvious, biggest red flag of this woman is the lack of emotional control. This is why men today will absolutely first pick that woman that is cute but has some emotional intelligence versus the woman that is beautiful but crazy. I would even stand to argue that a lot of men are suspicious of beautiful women because they just assume that she might be a little bit crazy.
Now, that right there is a extreme example of not being emotionally satisfied with the relationship. Your woman is beating you down. She's being disrespectful. Look, if you see a couple that's in a relationship like that, that one is always shouting at the other, or both are shouting at each other, I can bet that one of them is cheating. Or, in a lot of cases, both of them are cheating. They may not be going the full length of sleeping with somebody, but they could definitely be entertaining, doing stuff behind the person's back, being too friendly with the opposite gender. I don't think you can be in a relationship like that. Someone is not straying, unless if you are somewhere like in a country or the wilderness and you don't really have contact with other people, then maybe it's possible. But otherwise, I'm just shaking. Otherwise, that is a example of a man being in a relationship that he's not satisfied emotionally with the woman that he's with. Now, of course, there would be people that would say, well, why don't he leave? Yes, he should. In a good 70% of the cases, the man should just leave. Before it got to that point, as soon as she started disrespecting him or ignoring him or not taking his feelings in account by things that she was doing, he should have just left. I think the thing is, a lot of men are in that thing of we should just tolerate things from women. But tolerating does not mean in some kind of way the man won't rebel or do something else in place of that to try to feel more like a man because he's not feeling like a man right there.
Men cheat because they have friends who cheat. And the reason I say that is because you are who you hang around.
And as I say, I'm fair with this. The people that a person hangs around with, that's going to influence their decisions and their personality. Now, what if you just have one friend? Because I've always been a person that wasn't with a crowd of people unless it was an anomaly. I'm at a party, I'm at a gathering, I'm with friends of friends, their classmates, people I work with. But usually it's a small group of people that I might be hanging around with, or maybe just one other best friend of mine. Now, I do think it's less as bad if you just have one friend that might be a little bit off kilter, because I do see sometimes the same way with relationships, opposites attract. Sometimes opposite friends attract each other. So one friend might be a nerd that's in the anime, and another friend might be a thug, but he's also in the anime. Now, that's the thing too. Sometimes you have things that are in common, and it works the same way with women. If it's one toxic friend and they don't have a whole slew of friends that's like that, I think to a degree you can somewhat look over it. And of course, I'm saying it because I've been in certain situations like that, and that one friend does not influence me so greatly. Yet, if you are with a posse or a whole group of people, you may be less inclined to go against the herd if someone is saying something crazy. Whereas if it's just one person, then maybe it's not as bad. So don't take that literally with the thing with people that might have friends that maybe they're a little sour, but they have things in common. That's why they became friends in the first place. But look at the amount of friends that they have that are like that. And if it seems like they listen to what they are doing, that goes for both men and women in this situation. But since we're talking about men, yes, it goes the same thing with men. If they're hanging around with a bunch of bad apples, eventually they become a bad apple too. Maybe not as bad, but they're still bad.
Men also cheat to get back at their partners.
Okay, I gotta be honest. That is me right there. That is one of those stipulations that I will cheat on a woman. Now, the thing is, though, we have to pick the parameters of what cheating is. It all depends on what she does. If she hangs out with somebody that I told her not to hang out with, or someone that I thought it was okay to hang out with, and I saw or heard something that made me feel uncomfortable, what I'm going to do is at first I'm going to look at myself, blame myself. Maybe it's something I'm not doing. This is a lot of times I think why a man will stay with a woman that has cheated on him. Because in some kind of way he feels self-conscious, low self-esteem, something. Those are things that I felt in the past. And this is not saying you walk in on someone doing the deed. That's a totally different thing. But whereas two people are together, you kind of know something happened, but you don't know how far it went. And maybe she was honest enough to tell you something happened. And of course, I'm a little too soft with the crying. I don't know how I would be now because I've been through too many things. But when I was younger, some girl crying and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a good person." Blah blah blah. And she's living with me. Look, dudes that are cold enough to say, "Bitch, get the look." I commend you. I am not that dude. That's why for me, I have to be very careful who I invest with, who I let move in. If she has any type of those red flags for me, it might be yellow flag for you, red flags for me. Constantly talking and falling over another guy, having a crush on Henry Cavill or Drake, guys that I do not look like. That type of stuff right there, red alarms. She hasn't cheated, but if she comes across a guy, she goes to a concert, hey, it could lead into something, and then in the end, I'll blame myself because, okay, I'm not that guy, I don't have enough money. Okay, getting off of that right there. But if I know a woman has done something, but I don't know how far she went, but especially if she flirted in front of me, or she did something that I definitely felt uncomfortable with, I'm going to do it back to her, whether in front of her face or behind her back. So, and as I said, my Achilles heel is I will treat a person like I want them to treat me. When they don't treat me that way, if I cannot immediately cut them off, I will get them back. But do not follow that example. That is not a healthy relation. That is not the way to do it. You just need to leave. Now, of course, though, it's easy to leave, but what if that person is your type? What if you think that person is the love of your life? What if you have kids and you're knee deep in it? And whereas a woman can leave a marriage and take half, if I'm a man that's married with a woman that cheated on me, she still gets half, or she still gets a chunk, especially because of the kids, and she'll get the kids, unless if I'm cold enough to do a Steve Harvey, take the kids from her. So that's why I'm really leery of relationships, especially with the women, of how I see they act within my life or in other people's lives right now.
Men cheat because an ex walked back into their life.
2 years on that count.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that one right there. That goes against my moral code of treat others how I want them to treat me. Now, there will be men that will do that. But see, the thing is, the person has to still be hung up on that person. And they must have parted on good terms. Like if a person is still real good friends with their ex, could possibly happen if the person decides to come back into their life like that. But me, really, when I break up with someone or they break up with me, usually I'm done because I put so much emotion, time. There was no half-ass in there. I put my all into that thing. And after that, I feel disappointed that either I wasted my time or it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go. I don't feel like being close friends with them. I mean, we can be cool. I don't have to hate them because that ends up hurting me, but I can't be good friends with them because me being in their life benefits them more than it benefits me. They'll be leaning on me for favors or things that they got used to me doing in the past. Because that's the one thing, how a woman will use a guy that she used to date or she was with or ex-husband or whatever the case may be. They will still want you to perform the same functions that you was performing, besides the sexual, the same functions that you performed in their life, even though you two are not together. So that wouldn't be me, especially if I have a good thing going. The only way maybe I would go back to an ex is if I'm single and we have kids. Maybe. Okay? And then I have to think, did they really change? Did I change? I know I'm not perfect. Did I change enough? Why did we really break up? Was it a monkey branch thing? Is me just totally just fucking it up or something? What's to say that won't happen again? So, no.
Men also cheat whenever they're feeling depressed or anxious.
Let me add context to this one, because this is one that not a lot of people, well, definitely men, will not talk about. A man will have a good woman that supports him, that does almost everything right, even might be smashing him on the deli, but he may still cheat on her if he is depressed, have high anxiety, he feels like a failure in life. I'm not saying it's just a spell. I'm saying when he's totally in the dumps, he may step out on you. Because this is the thing here. How do men find our validation? We either find it through women or by achieving stuff, gathering things, buying stuff, status. Those are usually the ways that men get their validation. Now, the smart man will learn to get validation in the inside, on the little things, being appreciative of the things that he has been able to do and not comparing yourself to somebody else. Because if you are, whether you are man or woman, it will always be someone that's bigger, stronger, that has more money. If you are living your life like that, then you're living a losing battle. But if a man is constantly chasing success and he's not getting there, or he's with a woman that's more successful than him. Now, this is not a thing of a man can't handle a woman that has more money than him. But the thing is, which most women will not be able to do, because y'all are already not programmed of how to treat a man, not to value his feelings really. Maybe in the beginning when you're trying to nail him down or to get him to marry you, but on the overall, most of you do not value how a man feels. So if a man's with a woman that makes more money than him, I don't think she will resist the urge to belittle him, either in public, behind closed doors. We see how I was about to say Jada Pinkett Smith, but Jada Pinkett Smith does not have more money than Will Smith. But I'm saying anytime you see celebrities that the man had less money than the woman, then it fell apart. And then, of course, most people would say, well, the women would say that he could not handle being with a woman's success. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. A woman has to do this balancing act, and a lot of times they'll say making themselves small. No, but the thing is, you can't be knowing how men get their validation in their self-worth. You cannot be hitting below the belt, saying he's a loser, or saying certain things just because you get in a funky mood a particular day and you happen to be more successful than him. I think a lot of women cannot. This is why I used to think maybe possibly that's not important, but I think in most cases the man does need to have more money than a woman, because when she has the leverage, it's already shown that when a woman has leverage in the marriage because she has the kids or something, sometimes she'll start showing her ass, but she makes more money. A lot of them will start showing their ass with the man, behind closed doors and sometimes in public. And not a lot of men can handle that type of disrespect or that type of pit down. So if you are a woman and you make more money than the man, unless if you are somewhat tippy-toeing, and I'm sorry, you got to tippy-toe around his ego, because actually it is an ego thing, but it's not because you have more money, but it's the fact that you have more money and then you're going to flex it whenever you get upset or you want to show your ass or impress your friends. When you do that type of stuff and you belittle him, on top of him already probably feeling that he's less than the man, the chances of him cheating. All right. Now, I have one last video that I want to go over. I wasn't going to add this. This covers how if a man gets more status, his chances of leaving the woman that was with him at the beginning when he was building himself up increases. I'm going to let Stephen A. Smith explain this one.
You know what? I'm going to hit you with how Oprah does it. Because, you know, she say your first name real quiet and stare at you.
Yeah. Stephen.
Stephen.
Yes.
If you know so much about marriage,
Yeah,
why have you never been married?
because I didn't know how to act. This
Said
is
it in the
simple.
book.
It's,
Your fault.
it's totally my fault. Totally my fault. It's not anybody's fault but mine. I was on the road over 200 days out of the year. I'm not going to be faithful being on the road 200 days out of the year.
You can.
No.
You can make that choice.
No.
Just because you.
I didn't say you can't. I didn't say you can't. I said me. I could not be on the road as much as I'm on the road all of those years and honor a relationship. I know how to treat a woman very well. My mother and my 4 sisters raised me very much. And I'm one of those guys that call it a blessing or a curse. 90% of my living relatives are women. Like St. Thomas, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, upstate, the whole bit, Florida, Carolinas. I got relatives all over the place. Most of them are female. So I've been surrounded by females all my life. And you get to know what the do's and don'ts, what the wants and don't wants are, and all of this other stuff. That's a given. And there's a level of treatment that I'm never going to go lower than. So in that regard, I'm good. But when I was on the road for 200 days out of the year, man, and it's like, and this is the part that men don't reveal that much, but I will. When you get older, you grow up, and it's like you don't need it no more. You don't need it no more. So you don't chase. That's entirely different than when it's handed to you on a silver platter. And you don't have to work for it. That doesn't mean you can't say no. It certainly doesn't mean that you don't say no. What it does mean is that it's harder.
I think that that's a fair point that Stephen A. is making right now, and that forget the relationship part, right, in its entirety. Stephen A., this is the way that I translate what he said. Stephen A. was more focused on chasing his purpose and making sure that he was great in his career than he was on trying to split time and trying to make sure that he was balancing a life to ensure that a woman would be happy with him. Let me say that again. Stephen A. was more focused, and he understood what his path was going to be, and he said, for this amount of years, I'm going to be chasing this maybe even for the rest of my life. And I do not have time to prioritize what the wants are or what the requirements would be in being in a marriage or a relationship and faithful to a woman.
Now, say what you want about Stephen A. Smith, but that's one of the rare men that was honest, that he didn't just get married just to get married, because I'm pretty sure he was getting peer pressure from his female relatives. It's time to settle down. But he knew himself. And that's the thing. You have to be honest with yourself. Some people I don't think is built to be in a one-on-one relationship. Because I have to admit, relationships can be restrictive. Now, truthfully, I don't mind as long as if it's mutual. I just haven't been in a relationship with a woman that will do the things that she expect me to not do. Okay, except for one thing, I guess, watching P-Hub, and to any of the women that I might have dated that might be watching this video, the only reason I might have watched that was either A, I didn't want to be begging it from you, or B, to get you back from something that I couldn't get you back from. Like maybe you flirted, but I didn't have somebody to flirt with in front of you, or some guy friend that was just irritating me and you didn't seem to care. So obviously I did something that you would not like. Okay, right there, because a lot of women will consider you watching adult entertainment as a form of cheating. But hey, you have to ask yourself what you are either doing or not doing, or why maybe he's doing it. And I'm pretty sure y'all never had that conversation. But again, I never told her certain things. So, I mean, okay, I might have mentioned it, but I didn't see, I don't like repeating myself. So I'll say something once or twice, and then when they don't hear me, usually I'll go silent, or either they'll think it's over, they'll think it's not boiling under the surface, but it is. So I have to agree with what he said right there. I think I can do it for some months, but not year after year. And of course, if a man is chasing success, the one thing that a lot of men will not say, once you get on higher income levels, or you get to the top 10 top 20, 10, 1% of men with finances. You get exposed to a different quality of woman. You start being able to attract or either have around you the women that maybe you always wanted, that was really your type. And this is why a lot of times I say, while women be settling on men, a lot of men settle on women. Because that is the best, you are the best woman that he could get. He couldn't get the woman that probably is his dream girl. He couldn't get that type of woman. Unlike women, a man don't necessarily have to be with his dream woman. If the woman that is his second choice or the woman that he can get right now is doing all the things that he needs her to do, that is good enough for him. The one thing is if men is getting a lot of attention without him trying from his types of women, the woman that he's with is failing in any kind of way. She's being toxic, she's putting him down. And even though they didn't really cover this right here, if a man is not smashing the woman that's his wife or his girlfriend for significant amounts of time, and he's around other women, and just the fact that he's in a relationship, is some other woman that likes him, he may smash somebody else. Now, that's the way that I would stray. If I'm with a woman and then I can't get it from her, first, I'm probably going to indulge in adult entertainment, and then two, I probably going to do the other thing. Whereas I know I should just leave. But see, a lot of times people will go plan B instead of plan A, because plan A is the hard one. Whereas plan B or C, you can maybe do it, and then still maybe the person might start acting better. And my next video is going to be about why women be cheating. So let's not act like women don't be cheating. I just wanted to put out there why men, and this is not all men either. I'm not talking about men that are horn dogs, men that are greedy, men that's like a Drake or something that's trying to sleep with every woman in the industry that he can sleep with. I'm saying when it's a man that he's a decent or a good man, and he might stray. Maybe not necessarily sleep with the woman, but he might do things that are suspect. These are the reasons why. Hope you enjoyed this. Give me a like and subscribe.
Jeff Bezos betrayed his wife, but she managed to take half of his assets with just one move. In 1992, Bezos met Mackenzie Scott during a job interview, and they fell in love at first sight. After dating for 6 months, they got married. Shortly after their marriage, Bezos decided to start his own business. Although Mackenzie had just landed a high-paying job, she unhesitatingly chose to quit her stable career and support her husband's venture. Together, they quickly founded Cadabra, the precursor to Amazon. The couple was very happy, and they welcomed 4 children. As Amazon grew, Bezos became the world's richest man. However, as their careers flourished, they gradually grew apart due to spending less time together. In 2019, the couple officially divorced. However, the media suddenly revealed that Bezos had been having an affair with Lauren Sanchez as early as 2018. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to Mackenzie, and it became the fatal blow to their marriage. However, since the couple did not sign a prenuptial agreement, Mackenzie took half of Bezos' assets. At the time, it was said that Bezos' net worth had reached $137 billion. In the end,